Good day to you. We greet you in the wonderful name of Jesus Christ. This is George from Presence of Fire Ministries, and I want to share something very profound with you today about the blessing of God. Oftentimes we can lose out on the blessings of God because of going the wrong way. We see that when the people of God were camped in the wilderness and Moses went up to Mount Sinai to get the Ten Commandments, in his absence, they began to make an idol. They became idol worshippers. And one of the things we learn from this is that strong spiritual leadership is absolutely essential for people. That's why God has ordained it such, and God raises up leaders and pastors and evangelists and teachers and raises up people in places, and He anoints them for the purpose of leading His people, because people need leadership. All of us need leadership, and so God gives us that leadership. And without that strong leadership, we see that people go off track quite quickly. But what I want to focus on is that when Moses had gone up to the mountain, the people rose up together and they asked Aaron, they said, "Make for us a god." Now imagine that, having a god that is of somebody's own making, and we think that that's ludicrous, and yet today it's the same thing. What happens is people oftentimes make gods of their finances or their businesses or their fame or their houses or their assets or their accolades or their achievements. They make a god out of it, and those are things that the people themselves created, and yet they worship it as if it is a god. And then when those things fail, people find themselves in trouble and in despair and without hope. But one of the greatest problems with having idols in our lives instead of worshiping God is that we see in Exodus chapter 33 that God had said, "Because you are worshiping idols, I will not go with you where you go. I will not lead you." So they came close to losing. Thank God later on God changed His mind about it, or Moses prayed and God was gracious to the people. But they came close to losing the protection and the provision and the guidance of God. They came close to losing the blessings. God said to them, the Lord said unto Moses, "Say unto the children of Israel," this is Exodus 33 verse 5, "You are a stiff-necked, a stubborn, a rebellious people. I will come up unto the midst of you in a moment and consume you. Therefore now put off your ornaments from yourself, that I may know what to do unto you." And now we see that God withdraws Himself from the people because God is a holy God. And if God was to be in the midst of the people whilst they were living in sin, God's holiness would consume them, would destroy them. And so God is gracious by withdrawing Himself from the people. But we see that the moment that God withdraws Himself from the people, that the people lose out the blessing that God has for them. He says, "Take off your ornaments from you." Those ornaments are a type and shadow of the blessings that we receive from God. When God is in your midst, and there's no golden calf, no other God in your life, but when God, Jesus Christ, is the one that you worship, you have the blessings of God. So I want to ask you today, is there perhaps a golden calf in your life? What is the golden calf in your life? It could be family, it could be finances, it could be ministry, it could be a business, it could be a career, it could be a fame or a success or something that you are pursuing that is become more important to you than God Himself, than to worship Jesus. Now, I don't know what that is. I don't know if there is something in your life. But I feel this message God laid on my heart for you today to say, search your heart and make sure that there is nothing in your life that is a golden calf that you are worshiping instead of worshiping God, lest you should lose the blessing of God, the protection of God, the provision of God, and the leading of God. And instead, worship God. Instead, make Him the only one that you worship. And then this psalm will be a part of your life where He says this, Psalm 5 verse 11, "Let all those who put their trust in you rejoice. Let them ever shout for joy because you defend them. Let them also who love your name be joyful in you." When we serve the Lord alone, we are joyful in Him. Verse 12, "For you, Lord, will bless the righteous. With favor will you compass him as with a shield." Isn't that wonderful? Today you know that the blessings of God surround you as long as you keep your eyes on Jesus. Remove the golden calf, serve Jesus alone, and God's blessing, provision, and protection will be over you.